There's not a breath of wind in the air today.
Being human is a complex and ever-changing experience.
In recent weeks, I've been riding the waves of things in my unconscious coming to the surface to be worked through.
I believe nature photography can help us to better understand ourselves.
The similarities between us and trees are really quite remarkable.
In this video, I'm going to explore the unconscious mind and how the subjects we are drawn to in the field could mirror what's going on within.
So I thought it would be quite nice to spend some time with this majestic tree and photograph these beautiful spider webs that are surrounding it. The sound of bird song today is so beautiful.
When I studied psychology at school, I was fascinated by Freud's iceberg analogy, the idea that only 1/3 of our mind is conscious above water and 2/3 are unconscious below the surface, driving our thoughts and perceptions through memories, instincts and fears that we're not aware of. It got me thinking about the world of photography and how each of us perceives the subjects and locations we encounter differently based on these unconscious parts of ourselves. It also got me thinking about nature and how so much goes on around us that we're unaware of, yet how getting to know these hidden elements can bring us greater connection and understanding with the world we inhabit.
How beautiful is this tree? It's really, really special. I mean, every tree is special, but you know when you come into the woodland and you see a tree like this, it just stands out amongst the rest because of its shape. To me, trees like this depict characters. I love to personify them. And it's really interesting because when we really get to know trees, we uncover that they are so much more like human beings than we could ever imagine. You know, we're made up of 70% water, as are trees. Trees have veins, just like we do. They rely on water for survival. It's got this outer shell in the form of bark that protects it from all external invaders and keeps all the moisture in, as does our skin. You know, if a tree loses a chunk of its bark, it can stand quite a high chance of not surviving because that bark is such a crucial part of its survival. And the same with us, you know, if we lose quite a large chunk of our skin, we too are under threat with regards to our survival. And when a tree is felled and you cut into its branches and its trunk, you uncover its unique fingerprint, just like us. The similarities between us and trees are really quite remarkable, and that makes them a really good subject to come out and connect with, spend some time around, and if we really feel called to photograph. And last autumn in the Scottish Highlands, I spent 2 hours photographing a tree just like this. It was a really beautiful experience and something that I would highly recommend that you do one day to really deepen that connection with it. And also because there's so many photographs that you can create from a single tree. But the really interesting thing today is, while this tree is enticing me so much and I just want to connect with it on such a deep level, but it's actually the creatures that inhabit this tree that are inspiring me to create some photographs. Surrounding the tree right now, the grass is full of spider webs. And because we are in that shift just now between the summer and autumn, the air temperature is changing and we've had no wind now for days. We're getting quite a lot of misty, sort of foggy, overcast weather. And although it's currently mid-afternoon, all of these beautiful spider webs are still coated in lovely dew. So I thought it would be quite nice to spend some time with this majestic tree and photograph these beautiful spider webs that are surrounding it to see what sort of images I can create.
The fascinating thing about these spider webs is that they're always here, yet we only see them when they're coated in dew. I feel this is a great depiction of the unconscious. The webs are magical to witness, and taking time to admire them through the lens can lead to some really interesting photographs. Initially, photographing these was quite challenging. Their close proximity to the ground made it difficult to get a clear background. However, with some stubborn determination, I managed to create a couple of images that I liked. This one shows a tiny creature clinging to a blade of grass with a netted web below her, ready to catch her should she fall. I then found a web strung above some wood sorrel and enjoyed combining these together with some blades of grass. While these images have quite a lot in them, the beauty of the droplets shines through, reminding me how wonderful the world of macro photography can be in connecting us with these magical scenes. As I walked deeper into the woodlands, I began to contemplate this further and found some more spiderwebs along the edge of the path. It was interesting to admire the difference between those made on the foliage and those created on grass. This time I found great enjoyment in photographing the water droplets themselves and how the water reflected the foliage the webs were held by as the light illuminated them. Over the past few weeks, I've found layers of my unconscious mind have come to the surface. Just like the spiderwebs, things that have always been there but not visible have raised their heads. This has led to some anxiety, and I've needed time to work through them. We all experience moments like this in our life. They're normal and part of the human experience, but they're not always easy to manage in the moment, and it can be good to have something like photography to turn to help us ease those internal feelings.
Owning a camera, it's not just about what it can enable us to see and what it can enable us to photograph. It's very much about that whole experience, the holistic element of it all. And it's been almost 2 weeks now since I last went out with my camera and created some images, and just coming out today and reconnecting with photography and also connecting with this change of seasons. You know, it's very clear that the summer is slowly coming to an end and autumn, the first signs of autumn are beginning to appear around me. This change of seasons and coming out today with my camera and just connecting with these spider webs. I know the images that I've created today are definitely not my best work. I really can see that and I can feel that. But it's about what creating these photographs has done for me today. It's enabled me, for the last few hours I've been out, to get out of my mind and connect with something else. And especially by connecting with these smaller elements around me and these spider webs, which are always there. They're always there, but we don't see them unless it's a misty day like today. And all that condensation and that water droplets, the dew, illuminates these so that we can actually see them around us. And it is such a clear representation of, I feel, what I've been experiencing in recent weeks. And it's been the process of working through that. It's something I didn't see, but now I see it because something has happened to trigger that. Just like these spider webs here, like I say, they are here all the time, but we don't see them unless there's a change in the weather to illuminate them and make them visible. This stillness as well also plays in very well with the sense of contemplation. There's not a breath of wind in the air today. Everything is so peaceful. And these sort of conditions are often conditions that I find quite difficult to do photography, because although you've got the mist, you've also got this very overcast, bland sky, and this huge contrast between the brightness of the sky and everything else around you. But over the years, I've had to change my perception to be open to photographing in days like today. Because a few years ago, I would never have come out in this. It would have been a bland, overcast day, no opportunities. But now, it's like, of course there's opportunities. And it's really exciting to come out today and just explore this. To connect with the trees, to connect with the spider webs, to see these things around me that are always there but aren't always visible. And then to go deeper and reflect that back on my current journey and my current state in my life. The images we create are a reflection of who we are, what's going on within us at that moment. And the spider webs for me today are this representation of, in recent weeks, I've been riding the waves of things in my unconscious that are always there but aren't always aware of them, coming to the surface to be worked through. just like the spiderwebs that are always there but aren't always visible. Personally, I really, really believe that every image we create is a reflection of who we are in that moment, in one way or another. Because this is the uniqueness that I see when I do workshops, courses, mentoring. You can get a group of people in the exact same location, or if it's online, exploring the exact same topic, and they will all photograph something different. And if they do happen to photograph the same thing, it will be photographed in a different way. No two images are ever the same, because the photographer that's creating them, the images they create are a mirror and a reflection of who they are and what's going on with them in that moment. If every single one of you watching this video came to this location today, you would have seen something completely different to me. You may have still been drawn to the spiderwebs, but they wouldn't have been perceived in the same way that I've perceived them. So I invite you next time you're out with your camera to get curious. When you're drawn to something, consider what it is about that subject that's drawing you to it. It could be the literal thing, like the light that's cast on it, the colour, the texture, the pattern. But if you have a philosophical mind like I do, or you want to delve more into uncovering who you are as a person, and maybe what's going on within you, be curious and step back for a moment and just think, why am I being drawn to this? And if an answer doesn't come to you when you're out in the field, it may come to you when you go home and look at your images on your computer or start editing them.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's been shared in this video, and let me know in the comments below. If you'd been with me here today on this location, what would you have photographed and why?